So before going to the sex cord tumors or the feminizing tumors, I forgot to tell you another name is that yolk sac tumor is an endodermal sinus tumor. So this tumor marker of this will be alpha fetoproteins or alpha 1A-T. So all these things will be the tumor markers. Okay. Next one is that is known as sex cord tumors. Now, sex cord tumors or feminizing tumors, again, you'll have granulosa cell tumor, which is most commonly associated with carcinoma endometrium, and again, it is a low grade tumor. It secretes estrogen. So before puberty, if the patient presents with before puberty, you'll have precocious puberty. In reproductive stage, you'll have menorrhagia, and in postmenopausal women, you'll have postmenopausal bleeding. So these are the different types of presentation. Now what you see is that you'll have Karl Exner bodies. So what are Karl Exner bodies is that, I hope you can see, these are all small eosinophilic. See the pink. Okay, you can see the pink. I think I can't point it out to you. These small eosinophilic areas will be surrounded by this cells. See this small eosinophilic area you'll have surrounded by cells. It will be like a rosette. So this is known as the Karl Exner body, or you can also say it as coffee bean nuclei. And what is the tumor marker here? It will be inhibin B. Alright, so this is a low grade malignant tumor. Okay. Another tumor is that the Krukenberg tumor. I hope you know Krukenberg tumor. It spreads from the stomach to the ovary. It's a metastatic ovarian tumor, and you will have signet cells. See, exactly, signet ring cells, fat or signet ring cells. So this is how it looks. And in gross, you'll have a waxy appearance. It will be a more smooth surface, waxy consistency. It will mostly, since the metastatic tumor, it can be bilateral mostly. There's no tendency to form adhesions like our mucinous cyst study, and all that. Alright, so another thing I wanted to tell you is that in case of pregnancy, the most common benign tumor is our dermoid or the teratoma. The most common malignant tumor is dysgerminoma. You people keep wondering what is dysgerminoma. Dysgerminoma is what we see, the radiosensitive tumor, which has a best prognosis. So LDH, ELAP, which is also suppressor markers. The one with the fibrous septa, it has around the best prognosis. Alright. So another few things is like Meigs syndrome, which is like tumor, ascites, and pleural effusion. Pseudo Meigs is like you have the same thing, ovarian tumors. It can be ovarian tumors, and you'll have ascites, you'll have hydrothorax, and the ovarian tumor mostly it can be teratoma or mucinous cystadenoma, or it can also be granulosa cell tumor. Anything it can be. So mostly it involves lungs and abdomen. Okay, and then another thing is that pseudomeigs, which is a manifestation of SLE. For abdomen you'll have ascites, for lung you have pleural effusion, and then you'll have increased CA125, which you can see in everything. Also another thing is ovarian tumors. You'll have different cysts, granulosa cyst and theca cyst. Granulosa cysts appear due to failure of regression of the corpus luteum after 14 days of ovulation, and theca cyst is mostly associated with H-mole, choriocarcinoma, and HCG or clomiphene citrate therapy. These are all clomiphene citrate therapy. You can give it for PCOS, so that time you can develop these theca lutein cysts. And also HCG hormone therapy for when in case of IVF you can have that. Alright, so another thing is we'll go next to the staging of ovarian cancer. I think I can this is a bit chaotic again. My stagings are all chaotic, so show you a small one. Okay. Okay, for staging of ovarian cancer. Staging of ovarian cancer is, again, it's a bit easy, it's not that important. So 1A, it will be confined to ovary, unilateral ovary. The capsule will be intact. There's no surface tumor or ascites and all that. 1B, bilateral ovary will be involved. Here unilateral, here bilateral. 1C is that they'll have surgical spill, your capsule will rupture, ascites will develop. These are all 1. 2A is that extension of the fallopian tube. The ovarian tumor will go into the fallopian tubes and to the pelvic and intraperitoneal tissues. Now 3, again it's divided into A, B, C. A is that it is microscopic, and it involve the retroperitoneal lymph nodes, which is the sentinel lymph nodes in case of ovarian carcinoma, and you will also have peritoneal mets. And 3B is macroscopic in appearance, that is, it will be around 2 centimeters, and you will have positive lymph nodes, and it will extend into the capsule of liver and spleen. And 3C, again it is macroscopic appearance, and it will be more than 2 centimeters, and you'll have extension into the liver, spleen and lymph nodes. For A and B is that A, you will have malignant pleural effusion, that is lung involvement will be there, and also B is that extra abdominal spread or inguinal lymph node. So inguinal lymph nodes will be the last lymph nodes to be involved in case of ovarian cancer, because retroperitoneal will be the first and inguinal will be the last. So that is the staging. And treatment is not much of a big thing in ovarian carcinoma, because in ovarian carcinoma the management is like in earlier grades, that is 1A. If it is unilateral, you see an ovarian carcinoma, young patient, you remove the oophorectomy. So before that oophorectomy, the 3 terms to be known. Ovarectomy is removal of the deceased ovary. Overotomy is removal of deceased ovary. Ovarectomy is removal of part of ovary, and oophorectomy means removal of the healthy ovary too. So you'll have an oophorectomy here, and you do follow-up monitoring, and if it gets complicated, just remove the uterus and nothing. And early stages, it's very simple: hysterectomy and bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy. In the late stages, you can do a debulking surgery. You can do the debulking surgery is nothing but you do total abdominal hysterectomy, oophorectomy, and also retroperitoneal lymph nodes, which is the primary lymph nodes. You have to remove that. And also sometimes in case of appendicectomy, see in mucinous tumors, that is mucinous acidinoma, you have to remove the appendix also. And also for chemotherapy, you can give carboplatin and paclitaxel, which is for 6 cycles. So these are the management. That's it.